What's up, Buttercup? Welcome back to my channel. Today's spicy topic is 2 popular horror tropes that I hate and need to go. The first one, and I keep seeing this, and I think everyone is well aware of it, the inbreeding redneck serial killers. And then an extension, if you put a story in the South, there's a lot of inbreeding in the town as well. So just Southern inbreeding families. What a thing to say. This trope has been used for how long? How long? Decades. Let's do something else. I know that's, I guess, spicy, but let's do, for the love of everything holy, something else. I know at least some writers can think of something else to do to move their story forward and not include the inbred serial killer family, because I've seen many writers talk about avoiding that trope in horror books, because not every redneck or hick or hillbilly or moonshiner or just anyone in the country or, even in the Midwest, they're not inbred or inbreeding. That's supposedly kind of mind-blowing for a lot of people. But yes, a lot of them are not inbreeding. And even if you have instances of inbreeding in the South, which yes, I know about the Whitakers, and I won't go into them at all because it's a terrible situation and they are continually harassed and used for views. So please leave that family alone. It is a serious situation, but it is as if almost every, or let's say the majority of people in the South are inbreeding serial killers, or they're inbred, not necessarily serial killers, but it's just like a flood of inbreeding all over the place. And that's not accurate. Now, with the instances of legitimate inbreeding, it depends on a lot of factors. But from my research in inbred families across the world, one's ability to function is highly diminished. I'm putting that very lightly. A great example of this, and this is over time, but the Habsburgs are one of the best examples. Another example from many centuries ago is the Egyptian pharaohs. Their idea up until Cleopatra did this as well. The royal line had to stay in the family, so you had inbreeding, and King Tut was a example of what happens after a certain point of inbreeding, and it's not good. It's not good. I'm sure you've heard of King Tut and that family line, and also of the Habsburgs. If not, you should definitely look into that. Now, there are lots of problems with the southern states, each with their own unique issues, because no one state is a monolith. South's doing pretty good, all things considered. Obviously, there's room for improvement. The issues going on in the South now aren't issues related to lots of inbreeding families. Now, the best example of this particular trope done well is the 1974 version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and just that movie, not the others. We don't talk about the others in that series, because at least there was some depth, not a lot, but a little at the end there with Leatherface, and kind of sprinkled throughout the movie in small ways. But where in any study does it show that people cursed with inbreeding issues become so weirdly, horribly crazy with serial killer tendencies? I'm not seeing that. Now, there are problems with impulse control and aggression and anger issues, and of course mental illnesses and mental disorders, and we're not even going to talk about all the physical ailments, but that's where I'm getting at. A lot of the inbred serial killers are fast, quick, smart, some not, but I'm going for, the majority of what we're talking about here. very, at least in the description, physically fit. Now, they might have some physical ailments, but I don't think that people understand the inbreeding issues and the genetics that go about how you come to the point of a Habsburg or King Tut or, yes, the Whitakers. The research highly suggests, and probably not even suggests, it shows outright infantilization, which is seen with nearly all the Habsburgs. Not 100% sure with King Tut, because it's been so far in the distant past, but absolutely there were obvious physical ailments. And those horrid physical issues that are usually absolutely debilitating. Many cannot run after a certain point of inbreeding, much less walk on their own. Most are bedridden, or they walk very slowly. So the concept of somehow the inbreeding family that are serial killers, that are barking at people and shitting and pissing themselves, and can't function at all in a society, but then they are somehow smart enough to have years, if not decades, of serial killing activity, does not make sense. And then moving away from just the serial killer inbreeding family as a trope, the other trope would be put a story set in the South and there's inbreeding with the townspeople. And no, they're not serial killers, but they also bark at people, or they have a IQ of 75, so they don't know how to dress themselves. They live in a shack. They're covered in everything you can imagine, and they just can't help but just go at each other in all the ways you can think of. That is a very bizarre take. I'm putting that very lightly. It's just a trope that is used way too much. I mean, what do you think the South is like, or small towns in general? Because there's small towns everywhere. Like I said, you for sure have bad people in the South and small towns, of course, but it's lazy writing to almost always insert an inbred serial killer or inbred serial townspeople that mess with the main character for some odd reason. I'm just saying, let's work on being a little more original. Please and thank you. I know you can find other tropes or come up with a new concept that can become a new trope, a new popular trope for horror, or you can invert the trope. And speaking about originality, my sweet baby Einstein, the next trope is seriously overdone, which is worshiping Satan. Okay. Yay. You can't think of anything else for your story other than there's an old woman or a group of old women. Maybe there's a couple of old guys. Oh wow, a twist. Okay. And the issues happening around your main character is all because they're worshiping Satan. You got nothing else for me. Nothing. That's fine. I guess I'm just really bored. I'm bored. The best example of witches worshiping Satan and causing absolute chaos is Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. Be like Ira if you just have to use that trope. But at this point, I don't think this trope is original anymore. Whenever I see a book going this way, I really hope it doesn't. And it always does. It's unfortunate. And then I'm left disappointed because as a writer, not a horror one, but as a writer and an avid reader, I can come up with a bunch of ideas to create the story and not fall back into the trope of witches worshiping Satan and magic, devil, demons. Boom, I have a story. I think that people without magic and the devil can be just as scary and creepy, if not worse. And there's so much to work with, even if you leave out the devil aspect and keep the witches and the magic part. You don't need to have that together. Anything different than witches, the devil. Oh, and there might be magic in there. I'm just saying, something new. I would like something new. Those are my 2 most hated horror tropes. It doesn't matter if it's in a book, movie, or television series. Can we do something else? I hope you enjoyed this ranty video all about the tropes that I don't like in horror and that just need to go at this point. Comment with your thoughts below. Do you also hate these tropes? Or do you have other tropes that you don't like to read anymore? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.